Welcome. Something a bit different today. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to put my editing skills on the computer to the test and see how we do. So normally I take some records, talk about them, give you some samples and some needle drops, and try and introduce you if you don't know them, and refamiliarize yourselves with them if you do know them. Make recommendations. But today my recommendations are a bit different. I'm going to recommend places to find records in London. Now, obviously, London has loads of record shops, and in some parts of London, they keep appearing all the time, new ones, which is great. And if you come to visit London, there's lots of places where I'm sure you would be recommended to visit, certainly in the centre of London. Berwick Street has lots of great record shops, very famous, Reckless Records, Sister Ray, to name a few, Sounds of the Universe. But I'm not really going to focus on those more well-known record shops. I'm not going to talk about record shops that like HMV or FOP or what's the big one? Rough Trade, where you get a lot of new records. They do a great job and they do what they do. But I want to talk about the record shops that I like going to. Some of them maybe not so well known, a few of them off the beaten path. There are many. These are 5 that sprang to mind when I came up with this idea. So just see what you think. Along the way, I'll show you some records as well that I got from these places, because it's always nice to show some records. So I'm going to start in East London with a very beautiful shop called Atlantis. And it's a bit difficult to find because it doesn't actually say Atlantis Records on the front of it, but it's quintessentially a record shop. It's the perfect sort of digging spot. It's full of piles and piles of records. There's lots of stuff to go through. Very friendly people who run it, and they will always offer you a cup of coffee. Great records. If you like slightly more esoteric, unusual, hard to find, exotic perhaps, records, they will have that. A really great range. If you're a real music person who knows about music and wants to explore, that's a definite place to visit. I'd really recommend it. Lots of music from all around the world, reggae music, African music, India music from India, all around there, jazz, classic rock, music from Brazil, Latin music. I've got a whole range of stuff, just to name a few. There's a lovely one. That's El Grupo Folclórico Experimental Neoyorquino. Ooh, bit of a mouthful, that group, but this is a wonderful record, one of the classic records of Latin music, perhaps not as well known as it should be. Nice soul classic, a bit of hip hop, beautiful record, that one. This one I think I showed quite recently, lovely soul classic record as well. That's just a few of the records I've picked up there over the years, so I really recommend that. If you're in the Hackney area, that's definitely got to be on your place. In Hackney there are loads of record shops, and I'll name a few here today, but you can go on a real tour, a real safari of record shops around there, and it's great. Another great thing about Atlantis, it has a toilet. And when you get to a certain age in life, that's all you want, is an easily accessible toilet, and they have one. So love that place. Next, we're going to go over to the other side of London, but this time we're going north. Is it northwest? No, it's north. To be honest, I'm not from North London, and much as I like North London, I sometimes feel like I'm going to a different universe when I go there, so I get a bit lost. But anyway, we head over to East Finchley on the Underground, and this shop is the shop that you would want in your neighbourhood. Sadly, East Finchley is a bit of a way off for me to get to, but it's definitely recommended, and if you do come to London, I would recommend this place wholeheartedly. I'm talking about the institution that is Atlantis Records. There is no other place in London where you will get such good prices, I don't think. I mean, maybe other people will know, but for me, it's always come up with great prices. They have a very high turnover of stock, so every time you go there, there'll be completely different stuff. Again, it's sort of well organised, but it's got that kind of chaotic piles of records feeling going on. Alan, the gentleman who runs it, very nice, very polite, and very helpful and friendly. Whenever you're in a record shop, one of my golden rules is pay cash. Always pay cash. That's how you get the discounts. And Alan's, and I should mention Atlantis as well. If you're buying, particularly if you're buying a few records, you can expect a nice discount, especially if you're paying cash. So just a good tip if you're record shopping in London. Here's some nice things I've got. That was a very great record, this one, and I got it for an amazing price. And I think I boasted about that on another video. There's a nice reggae classics, Marie Pierre, Louisa Marks. Yeah, all of these records, that's a nice bit of Curtis there. A lot of those records, they're not necessarily very rare, but for example, these two, a lot of places will sell those for, I don't know, over £20, maybe £30 or so. Not at Alan's. Okay, you get a very decent price there. So really, really recommend that shop. I don't like to criticise any of these shops, and it's certainly not my aim to do that. My only criticism of Alan's is check if he's open before you go up there, because it's a long trek to go there to find that he's closed. His opening hours can be a bit funny, and in fact I think whenever you're there you'll notice people are ringing him all the time to ask if he's open. So maybe that's the best thing to do. Find his phone number, ring him, and see if he's open that day. But I really recommend going up there. It's on the tube, so it's not too hard to get to. Yeah, a wonderful, wonderful shop. I wish I had a record shop like Alan's next door to me, but probably it's just as well that I don't. But yeah, you'll find all across the board. You'll find great music, all genres. Particularly, I think there's a lot of good sort of classic rock and punk and all of that stuff. But great soul and reggae, jazz, the whole panorama. So yeah, lovely place. Definitely recommend that one. Okay, let's head back east to another favourite digging spot, another slightly disorganised place full of piles of records, the kind of perfect place to go. In Dalston, I'm talking about Eldika or Eldika Records, I'm never quite sure how you say it, but it's another institution in the area, and just a few nice things that I've picked up there over the years. Some real classics actually. Oh, look at that, what a record. Bit of Bobby, lovely, lovely stuff. Again, price is pretty fair. Pay cash, get your discounts, everything. The condition can be a bit tatty, but like all of these good record shops, you've got plenty of opportunity to listen to what you have. It's a proper digging spot. It's also a nice, it's kind of a bit of a community fixture, so there'll be lots of people there just hanging around and chatting. You'll learn a lot about music if you hang around long enough. But yeah, it's a really good shop. Specialising more in black music, so soul, reggae, particularly reggae. I think they're definitely one if you're into that. I don't know if so much now, but certainly there was a time when they had a lot of great Caribbean funk records. Whatever the case, all of these places I would recommend if you find them on social media, Instagram. They I think most of them, apart from Alan's, you don't do social media. The rest of them, they do put some stuff, some of their new stock, and just some good music, good recommendations you'll find. So yeah, I'll always go back to Eldika, always lovely. And there's kind of like a route you can go from, what I'd say, from like Shoreditch, going up to Dalston and then back past Atlantis. You've got a nice little triangle and hit up about, I don't know, 5 or 6 record shops on the way if you're feeling particularly kamikaze like. But yeah, that's a real top place, so I'll recommend Eldika. Okay, now that's 3 record shops I've talked about. I'm going to talk next about, I don't like to classify these shops as being better or worse than others. All of them have their strengths, definitely. A few of them have some minor quibbles, but nothing serious. But the one I'm going to talk about next is probably the best record shop in London. I mean, I don't like to say that because I think, like I say, there's some great shops, but this one is just insane. I only first went there a year or so ago, I think, even though it had been on my radar. It's another place, it's a bit difficult to get to. North London, the depths of North London for me, in Hornsey, but it's a well-known spot for record people. For you might find that there's famous people in there, DJs and things like that. But it's one of the best shops in London. Fair prices, very friendly staff. I'm talking about the Little Record Shop in Hornsey. And here's just a few of the spectacular pieces I've picked up over the years, or over the year or so. That's not an original, by the way. Okay, that's just a few things. But yeah, I'll put a picture of the shop there. I think he's called David, the guy who runs it. Very friendly, likes to know all of his customers, and will ask you lots of questions. Always very busy, a real community fixture as well. Very funny opening hours, I'm afraid. Only on Tuesday afternoons, and I think Friday and Saturday afternoons, if I'm not mistaken. But again, another one, if you follow him on Instagram, he updates you as to whether or not he's open that day. But it is definitely worth the visit. When you get there for 1 o'clock when he opens. Just a recommendation, because he has just insane stock you won't see anywhere else. Like I say, reasonably priced. There will be a lot of dealers there who are getting their stuff from him as well. But it's really, really great stuff. And again, it's a good mix of classic rock, soul music, reggae music, jazz, all over the spectrum. A lot of hip hop, things like that. And you can tell when you go in there, this is a shop for music people. So it's great. You can have a little dig there. It is by its nature little, but yeah, it's just insane, that shop. It's really good. And as he said to me the last time I was there, I'm not very good at maths, but the prices are very good. And as always, pay cash, buy in bulk, and you'll get a nice bit knocked off the top. So yeah, really recommend it. Probably the best record shop I've been to in London, although the others are pretty damn fine as well. Okay, and just one last shop to talk about, and this is a new one, or newish, and it's kind of like a replacement. It's really great having a record shop near where you live. And in South London, where I'm from, sadly, there are not very many really good record shops. There's a few. Brixton has some really nice record shops with very friendly people. My only problem is a lot of them don't have very good stock. They don't have a very good turnover of new second-hand stuff, which is what I'm interested in. And previously, where I lived, I had the amazing Ela Records, which was a fantastic place and did me well. Very good on price, and again had quite a good high turnover of great stock. But sadly, that closed. I think it was nearly 2 years ago now that closed. But last year, the guys who managed Ela Records opened up another one in Deptford, a bit down the road from me, called Upside Down Records, and I've been in there quite a few times. Fortunately, I work quite nearby there as well, so I drop in sometimes on the way home, and they haven't let me down. Prices still fair, but some really great stock as well. Found that the other day. Cosmic Soul Masterpiece, that one, Brainstorm. And here's a really nice one with a great cover. Larry Harlow in his psychedelic boogaloo phase. Almost worth it just for the cover, that one. But yeah, it's actually a pretty decent record as well. And I've got a load of other stuff from there as well. And I really like that place. Not so good on the discounts, but it's their business. I mean, running a record shop nowadays, it can't be easy. So I don't get too fussy if a record shop, if you think it's too expensive, well, don't buy the records there. If you think if there's something you don't like about it, you can always go elsewhere. But the prices are fair, so that's okay. All of those, I don't think any of those shops, I would say, are particularly expensive. Everybody rolls their eyes and complains about London prices with many things. And I'm sure if you go further north in the UK, there's lots of places you can probably get some better prices. Not to speak of car boot sales and things like that. But if you're in a record shop in London, obviously knockdown prices don't happen that often. But you can get some fair prices, and I think that's what kind of aiming for. A lot of these shops as well, they're not kind of Discogs obsessed, so the pricing they do will be their own pricing, which is quite often better. So that's my recommendations. There are many more shops I would recommend which have their charms. Off the top of my head, in East London, you've got Love Vinyl, great shop. You've got Yo-Yo's, a very expensive shop, but it's got great stuff which you won't find anywhere else. You've got Jellies, which is a nice little shop in a basement, which has some interesting stuff coming in sometimes. You've got in near the little record shop, WSA, When Spaceships Attack, is a new one, quite interesting. Yeah, Central London has its famous shops there. Flashback I haven't mentioned, which is a great chain across North and East London. Definitely recommend that. They have lots of good high turnover of quality stuff. Prices are decent, and yeah, I've got loads of great stuff there. And the Music and Tape Exchange in Notting Hill and in Greenwich, it's hit and miss. When it's good, it's fantastic. When it's not so good, it's a bit disappointing. But I suppose you could say that of all record shops. Anyway, I think I'm starting to ramble a bit. Those are 5 record shops that I recommend. And if you do ever come to London with the aim of buying some records, those are the places I definitely point out to you. They're not perhaps the most obvious places, they're not the most well-known places, but I think they are some of the best. Anyway, next time I will probably make a normal video talking for hours about some weird music or whatever. But hope everybody's well. Until the next time, all the best.